you want to set the tone right away, and you need something to grab their attention and to make them feel invested in you. So whether it's my personal story, like if I write an article about weight loss, I will 100% lead with, something along the lines of like, man, my life changed when I saw the scale at an all-time high of 285 pounds. It's like, wow, okay, well, someone else is probably reading that thinking I've also been in that position, or maybe they weigh more, or they've been in that. And then I can say, but through this, I've been able to get to this level, or lost this amount of weight, or I lost 75 pounds by doing, whatever.
So today's guest brings a perfect mix of beats, barbells, and brutally honest gear reviews. He's a certified personal trainer, a nutrition coach, lifelong strength junkie, and a man who can break down smart home gym system just as easily as he can break down a dance floor. Stephen Sheehan is a senior writer of Garage Gym Reviews, where his role involves testing, analyzing, and providing honest gym reviews of the latest fitness equipment, supplements, and home gym related products. If it's worth lifting, mixing, or eating, chances are he's already tried it and written about it. He's a former rugby player turned gym gear guru, a two-time University of Florida alum, and a DJ who somehow balances pre-workout reviews with post-festival recovery. Whether he's reviewing the latest tech-loaded training gear or spinning tunes, Stephen's got a rare blend of credibility, clarity, and creativity that makes him one of the more respected voices in the fitness media. So, turn up the volume, get ready to learn something, and welcome to the show, Stephen Sheehan!
Let's go. Man, I could not have done that even better myself. Thank you so much for the intro. I'm so glad to be here. And yeah, this is going to be a great day, great combo. I'm looking forward to it with you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to connect finally. I first met Stephen, same diff, back at Breaking Muscle when we brought him on board as one of the best staff writers we found out there. And really what set him above the rest, above the pack, was his blend of a strong writing background, no pun intended, and that hands-on, practical, certified trainer, certified nutritionist, kind of double whammy, triple threat, whatever you want to call it. That's exactly what we needed. That's exactly what he was. Created a ton of great information for Breaking Muscle, now for Garage Gym Reviews. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of dive in and get started. So Stephen, so you got to start in writing first. That was kind of your base in high school. I know you were writing through college, and you became a trainer afterwards. That's kind of a little different, I think, than some personal trainers. They're trainers and looking to add writing to their toolbox. Do you think that kind of reverse start affected your output?
I definitely think that the route that I took, which was writing first, as you said, was definitely the best thing for me because it took something that I was already like naturally gifted at. I was writing, since elementary school, whether it was poetry or whether it was, creative writing. And it was actually my mom who got me to sign up for newspaper journalism in high school. And I instantly hated it from day one, actually. I had a very, very tough old school New York woman who was my Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Sharon Brown. I'll never forget her. She was like, the first day I was like, wow, this is going to be brutal. And it ended up being the best thing I ever did. I ended up taking it every semester of high school. I became the senior editor. I went to college at UF, as Jane mentioned, 2 times. I went for journalism and then sports management. But along the way, basically, I've been able to hone those writing skills, whether it was covering high school sports, whether it was, doing a magazine class in college or a news writing class in college. And then I have a lot of experience in the sports writing world, but also SEO writing and content marketing. So I feel like by the time I became a personal trainer, I had such a good background in writing in so many different avenues that really the newest parts of my skill set I had to develop was writing reviews, actually, which is what I've been able to do with Breaking Muscle and Garage Gym Reviews. I never had that experience before, but because I had such a good formal background in journalism, ethics and, all the basic things that it seems like nowadays, I don't even know if kids even learn about anymore. I hate to call them kids because it makes me feel old, but, the inverted pyramid and interviewing and Mrs. Brown taught us how to shake hands properly and how that sets the tone for. So, I mean, these are the things that I learned back in the day that I still carry through today, even when I meet someone in person. And, these are all the little things that matter about communicating well. And like I said, I noticed in this industry, like you mentioned, a lot of the personal trainers don't really have that formal background. And so no matter what industry you work in, communicating is absolutely essential. The written word, the spoken word, whether it's an email, whether it's an article. So for me, I definitely think that background has been able to help me excel in kind of the fitness writing space, which is something I got into a little bit more recently as I went through my own fitness journey.
Stephen, so if you didn't do high school newspaper, you wouldn't be here talking with
No,
us.
so as I tell everyone, your mom is always right. So I'm so glad I stuck with it and I did not quit, because at first I was like, Mom, you made a horrible decision. Like, why did you sign me up for this elective? And like I said, sometimes those blessings in disguise, you might not expect it to be something that you fall in love with right away, and then it turned out to be just exactly what I needed. And but yeah, without that, I have no idea what I would have done, but I definitely am very thankful that I had a great high school journalism teacher that inspired me and like really pushed me and saw my potential. He got me involved in different, scholarship opportunities. And like, I did this summer program at the University of Miami before my senior year, where I got to live on campus for like I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks. It was all paid for. We got to like go to the Miami Herald, and we worked with like professionals, and like I got all this kind of exposure like early on in high school that really showed me like this is a very viable path. Not exactly a financially viable path, but you can figure out how to make your skill set work and capitalize from it. As you guys know, creating your own podcast or creating your own website or your own service, like it's just about the skill set that you have and then the passion and your work ethic. You got to have all three of those to be successful, whatever you do.
You're a lifelong strength junkie, so you kind of fell into personal training just from being a rugby player and just like training your teammates and things like that.
So I've always been like into fitness, as we talked about. I played high school football, and then I joined rugby in college, and that was like another very big game-changing moment. My junior year of college, I decided to try out rugby because I was looking for something to keep me active, and flag football was not for me. I needed some more physical contact, and I found out, wow, there's actually a sport where you don't wear any pads and you just run at each other, and that sounds awesome. So the first day of collegiate rugby practice, I actually broke my nose, and I said, "All right, boys, I'm in. I am definitely coming back." It was awesome, and it changed my life as well. Met so many people. I traveled abroad. I lived over in Ireland for 3 months playing rugby and coaching rugby. I lived in Freeport in the Bahamas, working for their rugby club for 6 months. Like I said, met a lot of guys from all over the world. So I was always involved with lifting as in relation to being able to play my sport. So the shift changed when during COVID, I worked as a sports writer remotely from home for the first time. And despite financially succeeding more than ever, all the other pillars of health, my mental health, my physical health had actually deteriorated quite a bit. And working from home, gyms are closed, spending too much time watching murder documentaries on Netflix and eating. And as a lot of stories go, I was in a relationship and it just wasn't really working out, and I had kind of let myself go. So basically at the beginning of 2022, I had weighed in at an all-time high of about 285 pounds, which when I was in shape playing rugby in college, I was probably in like the 220s. So I definitely put on about like 60, 70 pounds, and very unrecognizable. I had a kind of a spiritual type of awakening experience that really changed the way I looked at myself and like the way I looked at the world. And the number one thing I took away from that was that, number one, everything is always in your control, whether that's your thoughts and your emotions or what you're putting in your mouth, what you're doing with your body. You are like in control of your own self, your own spirit. And the number one way to take control is to take care of your body. So I decided to start going back to the gym, which was a U-Fit right by my house. And after a couple months of working out, which my style to get in shape was, I did a lot of circuit training. And that kind of was parallel to what we would do in rugby a lot of times. A lot of CrossFit style workouts, still with a lot of compound movements as the, core of it. But circuit style really for me helped like shred this body fat and allowed me to like develop strength and muscle at the same time. I'm also a big proponent of fasting. I've done that for a very long time. So long story short, as I was making this progress in the gym, some of the managers were like kind of noticing. They're like, "Hey man, you're making awesome progress. You're very inspirational to people. What do you think about getting certified?" So then I ended up getting my ISSA certification and started working at UFIT as a personal trainer in about August or September of 2022. And ironically, that's kind of where I started to see the integration of music and fitness, because I really, really enjoyed doing the group classes. So I did the HIIT classes, which was really natural for me because that was already what I was doing for my own workouts. So I was kind of taking them under my wing. And so I would start bringing my little Bluetooth speaker to my HIIT classes, and I would play like EDM music, which is what I started to fall in love with a few years ago, electronic music. And everyone's like, man, this just, the energy of this is really like intense and like kind of keeps me motivated. So that's where I kind of started to see how that worked together. And I just absolutely loved being a personal trainer there at UFIT, and got to connect with so many people, help people of all different types of backgrounds, which is really cool. And you have to learn how to talk to people, and you have to learn how to motivate people in different ways. You have to learn like what limitations some people have, and some other people want to be pushed to the max, and they want you to be like, yo, let's go. And that's kind of where that experience came from, was working at UFIT, the place where I kind of helped myself, and then I was able to give back and help other people. And eventually doing that and getting to be on their social media more, that kind of opened the door to Breaking Muscle, where they were looking for someone that could fit the writing and personal trainer role. And even when I was with UFIT, I was actually contributing to their blog as well, because I told them, hey, I have a writing background. I'd love to like keep using that, and that kind of put me out there more. So I've kind of always had writing, always had fitness. It's just as life goes, some of these things are more prevalent at certain times, or some things come back at the right time, and everything coincided in 2022 with that. And then eventually, like I said, I believe I joined Breaking Muscle in like September of 2023. So it's about a year later after being a personal trainer is when I kind of got my foot back into the door of like being a full-time writer. But now it was cool that I could use the personal training background.
You've gone full circle, dude.
Yes. And along that way, I did not mention back in 2016, 17, I actually, after going to grad school, I ended up going back and teaching journalism at my old high school while also coaching football at my old high school, which was actually one of the coolest moments.
Well.
Yes. So, I've done all types of the stuff with journalism. So, like I said, giving back, like I gave back to the gym community where I helped train myself. I gave back to like literally my high school where I, started my whole career basically. I did not enjoy being a teacher too much. I'll be honest. It was not really that fun. I loved coaching football. I loved working with athletes, but again, just a cool life experience to say, hey, I literally sat in your guys' chairs. I can show you the newspapers that were actually printed out from 2009 that I still kept, the yearbook as well. And I'm like, I've been there, done that. So you guys got to just trust me. I know what I'm talking about, So it was a cool experience. Cool experience for sure.
Well, obviously, Chris trusted you, right, Chris?
Yeah, it was easy. It was an easy decision. It's the only interview I've ever been on where you wore a tank top and made it work. Like usually it's not job interview material, but it works.
That's one thing I will say is like, I am very unapologetic about being myself, and, that's just who I am. I'm going to wear the tank. Today I did, try and class it up with a t-shirt today, but,
I still love your shirt off here. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't know if we could fit all the traps inside of this little frame, but yeah. But yeah, Chris and I hit it off right away, and that was like that. I had no qualms about joining that, even though I didn't know that much about the company or the site. But when you know that you're going to work for someone that is very, very competent and skilled at what they do, like that gives you a lot of confidence to kind of put your future in their hands as well.
Amen.
I appreciate it. I mean, that's what I said. It's exactly what we were looking for, because you brought both. Like we had whatever. There were other candidates that weren't up to snuff. No offense, guys. So like to the brass tacks. So when you're working either now or back when we were working at Breaking Muscle or whatever, when you get a writing assignment, like I know we had one that, compare the barbell row to the chest supported row. I need an article, 1,500 words, 1,700 words about that. So what's your process? Like, how do you use your trainer brain and your writer brain to communicate with each other and create something like that sounds good technically and also delivers the technical information? Like, how do you approach that kind of thing?
That's a great question. And I think it's about striking like the perfect balance between like having a conversational tone where it's like you are actually speaking to this person directly, and also giving them enough like scientific validation and like credibility to what you're saying, so that they trust in what you're doing. So that's one thing that I've learned, like working in this industry. Some places they want like super science heavy. They want a lot of citations. Some places are a lot more blog style and it's kind of just more talking to the reader. I try and blend both, and I always try and incorporate my personal experiences to be able to generate that trust with the reader. So like if I'm talking about the barbell row versus some other exercise, I'm going to talk about how did I use this exercise to train for rugby? What benefits did I get from it? What are some common mistakes I saw as a trainer with clients that I would think, hey, maybe these are things for other people to watch out for? What are things that I learned over the years of tips or tricks that I implemented to get better results? And I think organizing your thoughts ahead of time into some sort of like logical game plan is absolutely essential. And that's not just with writing, that's literally with anything you do, like the planning and organization. I can compare it to DJing. If I go to the gig and I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to play on the playlist, everyone is going to notice because you're just kind of going all over the place and there's no flow. Just as like if you go to the gym and you don't have a plan to work out and you're just going from machine to machine, you're definitely not getting the most results that you can. And people are going to, or your own self, you're going to realize, hey, I'm kind of just mindlessly going through this. So just like writing, you can't just go sit down and say, okay, let me spit out 1,500 words. You have to know, kind of budget yourself. Maybe I'm going to spend about 300 words or so on this. Maybe my intro needs to be about 150 words on this. And you have to really captivate them from the get-go. Honestly, that's like one of the biggest things I think is like introductions are like very, very important. Just like introducing yourself in person is very important. You want to set the tone right away and you need something to grab their attention and to make them feel invested in you. So whether it's my personal story, like if I write an article about weight loss, I will 100% lead with, something along the lines of like, man, my life changed when I saw the scale at an all-time high of 285 pounds. It's like, wow, okay, well, someone else is probably reading that thinking I've also been in that position, or maybe they're way more, or they've been in that. And then I can say, but through this, I've been able to get to this level or lost this amount of weight, or I lost 75 pounds by doing, whatever. I think fostering that connection with the reader is absolutely essential. Being organized in what you want to say and making every word count. That's probably one of the biggest lessons I took away from high school journalism. My teacher used the KISS method. She was like, keep it simple, stupid, and making every word count on the page. Because as you guys know, before we had the internet and we actually had, inches dedicated on like a printed out paper, like literally every word has to count. So I think that's very important too, is like not being like superfluous with your language and just like making every sentence count, making every word count, and being very intentional about what you do. And like I said, the great thing about this convo is that whatever we talk about with writing, you can apply this to like all other avenues of life. You have to be intentional about what you do in life. You have to be organized. You have to have connections with people. This is going to allow you to have success in no matter what you're doing, whether it's writing an article, whether it's designing a workout, whether it's starting a business, whether it's like starting a new relationship with someone. You want to captivate them, but also be intentional and be authentic.
That's awesome, Stephen. That's really good stuff. Thank you.
Yep.
I think that comes down to a lot of it. It's like you said, it's getting their attention from right off the bat, and also kind of, like you said, blending the conversational tone, which is something we talk about all the time, right, like you're talking to a client, essentially, with also delivering, whether it's citations and references or, a more casual tone. I think that's part of that will depend, I think, on the outlet also. Like if you're writing for a certain website, even like Breaking Muscle versus Garage Gym versus, another website you've written for versus a gym blog, there'll be different tones and kind of different voices that you could use, and that like you said, that the readers expect. So I think you have to kind of model your writing based on where it's going to end up. Would you say is that a big factor or not so much a factor?
Very much a factor. So like with Garage Gym Reviews, I take much more of that conversational tone because I feel like I'm speaking like directly to someone that's working out in their garage gym, and I'm giving them some advice about this, or I'm reviewing a product like this. Versus like Breaking Muscle, I would be a little bit more scientific, I would say, and a little bit more formal. But I worked at Bulletproof for a while as well, both as a freelancer and full-time. So we did a lot of stuff on, obviously keto products and coffee and all. And I had to learn a lot about citations because when you're writing about products, which is a lot different than Breaking Muscle, we didn't really write about products as much. When you write about products, you have to be very specific about your health claims and where you're citing this information. And so those kind of articles are very different than me giving you, 13 tips on how to break a weight loss plateau. And you have to know your audience because, for example, I am in charge of the Garage Gym Reviews newsletter. You have to know that there's 29,000 people. Yeah, that's become part of my role over the last like 6-7 months. It's actually pretty cool because that allows me to really like put my voice into there too. But you have to know there's 29,000 people subscribing to this. You need to deliver to them what they want. So I even put polls in there sometimes and ask them, what is more type of content that you guys would like to see? Is it reviews? Is it roundups? Is it workout guides? And by the way, it is overwhelming that they all want workout guides. Everyone wants help with like working out or what to do. They don't always want to know, like they don't want really care that much sometimes about the products themselves, but people need help of like how to move around and how to lose weight or how to build muscle, which you guys know is like, ironically, it's not really as complicated as people really think, but you also have to take the mindset that like we are in a smaller group of people that really do know this. And so it's our responsibility to now spread this wealth of knowledge to other people, because I even take it for granted sometimes that the majority of people don't even know like how much protein is in this type of food, or does this even have protein and stuff. And so you gotta kind of, I don't want to say dumb it down, but something I learned, you know, early on in journalism is like the average reading level of like an American person is like fourth to sixth grade, basically. Like, you know, a lot of,
I think it was eighth. I get eighth grade.
yeah. So basically, like they would tell us like back in the day, like you need to write on like a middle school level to like get people to understand, which is interesting because I don't think any of us think like a middle schooler, but you have to put this in a way that people can understand, you know, and that's really like key, because otherwise your writing is nothing as if they're not going to read it. So you got to make it understandable, digestible, but also interesting. So it's an art. It's an art, you know.
It is, and I mean, I've banged on about with Chris before. I mean, you know, all three of us, you know, we know a lot when it comes to health and fitness. Our audience, not so much. But we know we have all the knowledge in the world and we know how to apply it. And then, but the reader doesn't have the knowledge and doesn't really know how to apply it. So I think what you're saying is also it's important to do both in your writing.
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, you can give them the information, tell them how much. You could give them, let's say, like the breakdown of how many calories per gram in all three macros, and you can tell them all that information. But if they have no idea, okay, but how do I create a nutrition plan? Like, how do I set my macros, or how many calories do I need to eat? Like, you need to make this applicable. And then you might need to give them examples of like, well, this is how you might want to do a little meal plan, or this is how you might want to you know, have these types of snacks on hand so that you can hit these goals. So it's like you gotta lead them to the water a little bit. And sometimes you might even need to put that sip of water in their mouth and be like, okay, now you guys know how to drink it a little bit, you know? So you can't just, some people do well. Some people I have noticed are amazing. If you just give them the information, they already have everything else to be able to take it. Some people need you to give them the information and give the game plan. And some people need you to give them the information, to give them the game plan and check in on them about how they're doing with the game plan, because, you know, they might not have that accountability and motivation, you know, on their own, and they need you to kind of hold their hand. So I've, you know, working with clients, I've had all ranges of types of people. Some people like literally they just didn't know what to do, and once you tell them, they will go all in on themselves, and that's probably the easiest client, honestly, and my experience, and probably your guys as well. There's others where it's like you need to do that daily check-in every day, and you need to check to see if they log their food, and you know, so just like anything in life, you know, there's all different types of people, and you just got to learn how to work with them and serve them the best, you know?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So like we said, you've been writing basically all your life.
Yeah.
And you've gotten into fitness half-ish your life. Did you ever, or was it ever on the radar to do like a personal blog or something along that lines, like on your own? Or was it like either to support your training business or just for funsies? Or was it always always distracted doing, you know, real work?
Yeah, real work. It's hard to do my real work by the pool every day. Yeah. I definitely have explored personal blogs, or something I still want to get around to. And maybe just because I like talking so much, I definitely always thought about and have tried a little bit dabbling in the podcast realm, because I love having conversations with people. So, and a lot of that stuff is more to do with like spirituality and just life topics, because like those are the things to me that I find interesting, because, you know, we all have different stories about whether you've gone through a marriage or a divorce, or you know, career changes. A lot of things that I focus on too is like how to be a better overall man, and how to like kind of mold yourself and develop, because in my opinion, you know, there's a lot of shortcomings in society right now, and our culture and our values. And I'm very blessed to have two parents that have been married they just celebrated their 40th anniversary. And I learned a lot
Wow.
from observing them and how they operate and how they move individually and as a unit. And what I always find interesting is just like what qualities about, for example, my dad, or like I said, my parents, have allowed them to flourish in this way. And to me, as a young man, that's I'm 33. I'm always trying to think like, how can I help inspire other people to be better? And I think like starting with helping men understand what it is to be aligned, what it is to be focused and driven, and authentic to yourself is big, and like not doing things for clicks and not doing things to fit some sort of mold that you think people want you to fit. That's kind of what I am always interested in. So it starts with fitness. It starts with, do you have the discipline to take care of yourself? Do you go to the gym? What do you feed yourself? What are you doing in your free time? Are you consuming Netflix and TikTok, or are you starting your own blog or starting your own podcast, or are you, like for me, it was DJing and I threw myself into that. So it's funny you mentioned that, Chris, actually, because my sister has been imploring me lately to start my own blog or start writing a
You
book,
got to
actually,
start your own blog.
because she's
We
like,
we
you
are the
have your
right
life
spot.
story.
And
Yeah,
we believe in starting our own blog. I've written a blog for about 10 years.
Yeah, I think you guys are actually the ones that are going to get me to do that now. So thank you for inspiring me today, because my sister, like I said, my sister's been honest. She's like, you're a writer. She's like, you have all these life experiences and things that, lessons and how you inspire people to just do what you want to do. And like, but she's like, writing is what's really going to make a difference in people's lives, is if you can tell that story. So, yeah, it's definitely something I'm always interested in, and probably something I'm going to pursue now even further. I have my own website for my music career, and I'm probably going
Oh,
to start a blog
you
on
could
it.
write about both on that.
Yeah, honestly, and
music
talk about
website.
how
Yeah.
both of those things
Yeah.
have, been so integral. Like literally when I work out, the music makes such a difference. And even going to the music festivals and being part of that, like I train so hard so that I can go to the festival and have a great time and be in shape to kill it at the festival. So they're very integral. They're very, interwoven with each other,
Yeah, and here's what I find, Stephen. So I write for Muscle and Fitness, and you write about certain things all the time in a certain way. So there's
Yes.
probably even more so, because I used to write for Garage Gym Reviews as well, so I'm familiar with it. They want you to write a certain way. They give you the headline, they give you the template, you
Yeah.
plug and play.
It's
So
like this. Yeah.
yeah, so it doesn't allow for a lot of creativity, right? You can
Yes.
weave stories in and all that kind of stuff and whatever. But that's where I find that having like an outlet, like you have your music, I have on my blog, that really helps, right? Because then it doesn't creep into the other stuff. You can keep the two things separate.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like there's pluses and minuses to this type of work, where it's like everything is in a template and everything is very standardized. So on one hand, you can get very good and very efficient at doing this work if you've done it enough times. I've written so many reviews now that I know how the process goes. But like you said, I'm not really having to, I'm just sitting here banging it out. And it's like, yeah, it's not as fulfilling sometimes. And, I'm not able to like really put as much out there. So I think having that other outlet, like you said, like for me, the music has been cool. But then even for then, I'm going to want to write my own songs so that I can let the creativity shine. But then also like having a blog where I can talk about just this process of like becoming something else, or the life lessons you learn that have nothing to do with your job. These are things that are more valuable to people than me writing a review about a treadmill, so no offense. I love garage gym reviews. I love my job, but
Yeah. Because Chris and I, we get a few people who go, well, what does it take to write for Muscle and Fitness, or what does it take to write for Garage Gym Reviews? And I go like give them a really cynical answer, like, why don't you suck for a while? Why don't you like write a blog for 10 years? Why don't get 3 views per blog post for a good 5-6 years? Then all of a sudden you got thousand readers reading your words. So I think a lot of people underestimate the time it takes, but also the work it takes to get where you are.
Yeah.
Even with your journalism degree, it doesn't guarantee anything. Right?
No. Oh my God, guys.
There's lots of good writers out there who are unemployed.
I have written so many articles about so many weird random topics over the years to make money, like from like probably graduating college on. I mean, I worked my first job out of college. I got a writing job for $35,000 a year, and it was for like this content marketing, internet marketing company. It was just when SEO was like a thing. This is like 2013. And I just graduated. I didn't learn anything about this in college. They didn't teach us anything about SEO. It was all, the inverted pyramid and this and this and this. And I learned very quickly, one, I was like, wow, there's a lot of money that could be made in the SEO writing world, like as far as companies. Not the writer wasn't very lucrative at all. But I wrote stuff about like driver's licenses, like how to renew your driver's license, how to replace it, how to get your passport renewed. So I've written all kinds of stuff about I've written stuff about airports, so like Chicago, random stuff. Like I've done random fitness articles, random stuff like that. And during those days, you're like, dude, I don't even know how I'm going to make money to survive off of this. But I will never regret any of those things that I did, because over time, I mean, you just improve as a writer, no matter what it is that you're writing about. It's because if you actually care about what you're doing, you're going to make sure that driver's license article or blog or whatever it was, this shit is going to be clean. It's going to come out correct, like that. So if you hold yourself to that standard, no matter what you're working on, you're going to improve, and eventually like the quality of your work will speak for itself. And then if you actually can speak for yourself as an actual person, when you go on an interview, he's already seen my work and then he sees how I am in person. And then that's when, you have the credibility and the and value. I think that's the thing, is you have to build value for yourself. So it's like, yeah, no one sees the value in you and you don't feel it when you're writing you started your blog 10 years ago, or when I'm writing about driver's licenses in 2013. But I'm like, you know what? It's 2025. And I've now been writing professionally and getting paid for this, for like 12 years. Whether that was at Bulletproof or UFit or Garage Gym Reviews or Breaking Muscle, I'm like, people obviously see that what you do is good and that you valuable, that they want to hire you and pay you for your writing. Like, I mean, it's a crazy concept, honestly, but I'm like, and now I'm sure we could talk about it. Now we have AI that does this for you. So it's almost like, okay, so how do I still be more valuable than a robot? And a robot doesn't have this. It doesn't have the life experiences that I have. It doesn't have the energy that I have. It has all the technical skills of how to write a sentence correctly, but that's where I'm still gonna wager that human beings still have more value. But I also think, and probably would be great to ask you guys, what are your guys' thoughts on AI and ChatGPT and its integration in the writing world? Because as someone that's living it right now with a full-time job, and there is AI going on in this workplace, I would love to know, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'm gonna let Chris start.
Okay.
I will go on forever.
It's well, we've talked about it before. I've talked about it in some other podcasts. Like, AI writing is a shortcut, undeniable shortcut. Shortcuts can be useful or they can be cop-outs. It can backfire. So if you're using AI, especially as a trainer or nutrition coach, to create your written content, you need to be hands-on. You need to review it and edit it so it sounds like something you wrote, especially if you're putting your name on the byline and saying, I wrote this. You have to be hands-on, and you have to check it for quality. I have still never, ever, never, ever, never in the last 2-3 years seen a good workout come out of AI that a human coach could do. Have not seen one. There's always something, either the volume or the load or the frequency or the exercise choice or the goals period are incompatible, inappropriate. I saw there was a comment on Threads. I play on Threads a lot. Somebody said, oh, I just got this AI diet plan to lose 20 pounds in 30 days. No human coach would say, hey, good idea, let's do that. And P.S., in the diet plan she posted, AI said, yeah, you can lose 20 pounds in 30 days. We're going to aim for 1.5 to 2 pounds of loss per week. That's bad math.
The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing.
And everyone's saying that. So that's where AI is. So that's the risk you run if you let AI write content for you without checking it. You have to review it, at least.
I got interviewed by a puppet called Brickstrong. It's a whole stick on. He's got a whole Instagram website. It's really great. And we talked about AI and ChatGPT and whether AI would be a better coach. And I answered it like this: is like, when it comes to programming, and like also with writing, it's part art and it's part science, right? There's a lot of guesswork involved. There's a lot of experience involved. So AI has all the science, has access to everything, right? But it doesn't have the art, doesn't have the nuances. And it's the same with writing. It might look and sound great when it comes out of AI, but knowing that with us three, we have the knowledge and we can read it and go, no, it's bullshit. It's not right. So a lot of people don't have the knowledge and the experience to realize what AI is putting out.
So I think that's a great point. And I think, as Chris kind of said, it's a shortcut. And I do definitely see valid reasons to use it in certain instances. For example, when I'm coming up with titles, I definitely use it sometimes for
Oh, me too.
inspiration. I think that's a great way to use it. Or if I'm creating Instagram content, I'm like, hey, give me 10 hook ideas that'll pop off for this video. But I actually found, like, I see a lot of people have it write the captions for them for like their entire post. And I can already tell as a person, like reading it, like this is not like what a person would write, you know? And to me, I have really tried to stay true to myself and not use it for that reason, because what I have to say in the caption is my thoughts, and that is what is going to actually connect with people. So I rather just say it exactly how I feel it is. It doesn't need to be polished up exactly how ChatGPT would or whatever. And I think that you're almost like, I don't know, this could go real deep and we don't need to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of playing a bit with karma, and like if you are just basically using it to do work for you. I feel like in the end, like, so whoever's watching, you're not going to be rewarded for just using something else to do work for you. You need to
Yeah,
put the work
right.
in
That's
yourself.
for sure.
And like if you use it appropriately as a tool for inspiration, or I might say, hey, I have this sentence, I'm trying to find this one word to finish it off. Sometimes it'll give me a list of 10 words. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's exactly what I needed. But I refuse to let it do stuff for me all the way. And I think the scary part is that some people are just going to be too reliant on it, and they're going to be like using it as a crutch instead of a tool. So there's got to be like
Yeah, that's true.
this
Yeah,
very definitive like line there where it's like I'm going to use it to help me, or I cannot do stuff without it, and I never want to be on that side of it. You know,
people who write for a living, it's a fine line between passion and just doing it because we love it. But writing is a process, right? And it is time consuming, and sometimes it can be really hard. And we sit there and we stare at the screen and the blinker is, and it's like, what am I going to say next, right? So what AI does is it doesn't provide that struggle. It takes a struggle right out of it, right? And I think as a writer, you really have to learn to embrace that struggle to be any good, right? And I've struggled a lot before I've been any good at what I do. But AI, like you said, provides that shortcut, but it takes out the struggle as well. And I think it's important for writers to realize that it's okay to struggle. It's okay not to know what to say. It's okay to look at the blinking screen. It's okay to have imposter syndrome, right? It's okay to have writer's block. All that is part of it.
yes, and that carries over just like when we talk about in the gym. There's some days you're going to show up and not feel the best, or some days you might not have the motivation. And it's like in those moments, it's like, are you going to quit and just go home, or are you going to put through the struggle? And then you might end up having the best workout of your life by the end. And it's just like when I started DJing, it's like, okay, well, in the beginning, I didn't know how to barely touch the button to hit play, let alone change the BPM so that they're matched, or pick the right song and the next thing, so it's like, but if I didn't go through the struggle and I just used there's AI software that basically DJs for you, that picks out the whole set.
Yeah,
right? There's that does all the transitions for you. Basically, it'll plan it out ahead. And I'm like, do I want to do that, or would I rather learn how to do this myself and actually have the control? Because now you're actually more empowered. Just like as a writer, if you go through the struggles and you figure out, man, I actually finished this article today, even though it took me an extra hour or two. But by the end, now I am a stronger writer. I am a more I'm like more resolute in the fact that I can overcome things, or that it is my brain power that is like actually making this happen. And like, I feel more rewarded when I know I did the work than like something else doing it for me, or cheating your way through it or whatever. And just in life, you got to go through the struggles to enjoy the successes. So
that's right.
Writing is no different.
I think that's huge. And actually kind of ties into something I wanted to ask you about,
Yeah.
not writing related. You're one of the people that I know that you've done 75 hard a couple
Yeah.
times.
Twice, yeah.
Okay. And I see a lot of critique that shouldn't be 75 hard. You just need 365 medium. And I get where it's coming from, but it's dumb, because like nobody gets to stay 76. I mean, I haven't done it, full disclosure.
Okay, sure.
But I can see the benefits of it. Okay, but objectively, I can see the benefits when it's followed properly. And I don't think anyone gets to day 76 and says, I'm glad that's over, cancel my gym membership.
Correct.
Right? Do you think there's benefit? Obviously, you think there's benefit to 75 hard. Yes?
Yes. So
you're challenging yourself.
Yes. And it's actually a really cool point that you brought up about the 365 medium, because my mom, after I just finished it the second time, she goes, well, I don't think you should be calling it 75 hard. She's like, I think you should just call it 365 alive. And I was like, wow, that is such a great concept, Mom. Because I was like, she actually helped me come up with my artist name as well. So once again, listen to your mom because she's always right. She was right about high school journalism. She was right about everything else so far. My thoughts about 75 hard after having done it twice. Personally, I can just say I never have an issue with like motivation. So for some people, that is what they need that for motivation and discipline. I'm already that type of guy. This just like kind of like sharpened that and enhanced that. My big takeaway, honestly, from 75 hard, doing it twice, these habits that you are the rules that you're following are literally the habits that are like absolutely essential to being a healthy, successful person. And none of them are groundbreaking that you should have to put it under some sort of like challenge name.
Yeah.
Working
Exactly.
So drinking a gallon of water a day, you're supposed to do this basically regardless. You shouldn't have no challenge. Reading 10 pages a day, you should be educating yourself in some form or fashion, whether it's reading or listening to a podcast. You should be doing this every day because you should be wanting to learn and grow as a person, not wasting your time on TikTok and Netflix. Number 3, you're supposed to work out twice a day for 45 minutes each workout, and one of them has to be outdoors. My takeaway from that was you're working out a total of 90 minutes a day. Maybe that's excessive for some people, sure. But I was like, the point is that you're moving your body, which you should be doing anyways. And number 2, you should be getting outside, because the second part about having an outdoor workout, I think, is more of the fact that if you didn't tell someone you had to work out outside, most people would spend 0 time outside every day. So my point is that's why I come right outside. I come work outside because I'm getting the sunlight. And I'm, like I said, I'm a spiritual person. And I literally think when I'm writing outside, I'm getting some sort of power from the sun, like mentally and all that. And I'm like, I'm in a better mood being outside writing than being stuck inside my little home office, right? Taking a progress picture every day for 75 days, that has nothing to do with like whether you are actually, physically changing as much or whatever. It is literally just a measure of accountability. If I said, brush your teeth with your left hand every day for 75 days, it's the same thing. It's like, did you actually do that? It's literally just showing, can you actually do something for 75 days straight? So in the end, I really think like you don't, and it's the other one is like the big one, obviously, following a diet with no cheat meals or alcohol. Okay, me personally, I don't drink, so I don't have any problem with doing that. Each time I've done 75 hard, and it might go counter to what some other trainers think or whatever, I've never tracked a calorie. I've never weighed my food. I never measured anything. I never even would weigh myself. I would just literally, the change that I made was I cut out processed foods. Both times I did this, both times I went from about 235 pounds. And I have pictures and stuff, reels on my Instagram we could share later. Stomach, a little flabby and stuff, to like having abs. And this is the only times I've ever gotten abs in my life. And this is now in my 30s. So it has nothing to do with your age. It has nothing to do with whatever. It is because what you put into your body matters so much. And the easiest way to be healthy overall is to eat whole foods, like clean foods. Like there's no magic to that, in my opinion. I'm like, I ate steak and potatoes and eggs and fruit and yogurt and chicken and just the basics, bro. Like it's really not some overcomplicated thing. And if you eat that and you get your sun and you drink your water and you move your body and you're meditating and reading and just basically, what are you putting into you mentally, physically, and what are you putting out, bro? Like you're going to be healthy regardless. And so, yeah, having done it twice, I just feel like you don't abandon those habits at the end of 75 days. I'm not like, oh, let me stop drinking water. Let me not be outside. I'm like, no, this just showed me these are the things that you need to do to be healthy and happy. So just keep doing it. You don't, so that's really my takeaway from it.
I think that has a lot of carryover into writing, right?
Yes.
So like with the habits, but also what we read and what we put into our brain,
Yes.
and also what we put out as well. I think if you're serious about writing and getting paid to write, then you should be reading great novels. You should be reading other stuff besides fitness. You probably should minimize your screen time and minimize watching the television news and all that kind of stuff, because I think that all reflects in the written word that we put out too.
I think that's everything. I think I love it, and you're just the complete package. It's irritating that you're just, I love it.
It's not irritating. It's fine.
No, in the best of ways.
No, believe me, it's a lot to handle sometimes too. And I do put a lot of pressure on myself, but honestly, having a good support system around you, like having good friends and like your family. And like Chris, we work together, and we've never actually met in person. And, he's been one of the bigger, like, mentors and just like supporters, just cheering me on from the sidelines, so to speak, but that matters too. Like, hugely important about who's around you, who's influencing you, because just as much as having positive people around you can literally took me from being messing around in my brother's garage on my little starter kit last summer to 1 year later playing in one of the biggest clubs here in Orlando, has everything to do with having a good, positive environment around me. And if you don't have that and you are in the wrong environment, you will definitely not flourish as much as you should, or you won't even know what your capabilities are if you are not in the right environment. So that's another big factor to being able to do everything that I do, and still trying to stay half sane and still somehow have energy to get up and do it the next day. But honestly, dude, it's like you get this one life to live, and I'm just going to make every day the best possible. Every time I show up to the gym, I'm going to be the best hype guy for everyone around. Even if I'm the biggest guy in the gym, I'm going to go up to everyone else and be like, bro, you are killing it. Or this girl will be like, man, this one girl that's been like working out for a couple months now straight, and I went to go hug her. I'm like, man, I can almost put my arms around you twice now. What happened to the rest of you? And you see, one little comment like that can literally change someone's whole life. Like, it can change their whole demeanor, how they look at themselves. So I just try and spread that positive energy, and like I said, still somehow have some left over to give to my cats and give to my mom and dad and give to everyone else. But yeah, man, very fulfilled and very, very grateful having a that blessed mindset, and like having gratitude is, people talk about this stuff as like, woo woo type of stuff, but I'm a firm believer in all these things. And I think what you put out will come back to you. And so even when you face these challenges in life or these setbacks, you can either get better because of it, or, you could let it just basically ruin your motivation and ruin your dreams. But for me, I'm never going to let that happen. And hopefully anyone that's been around me knows that I'm going to make sure if I hear 1 second of your self-doubt or negative self-talk, I'm going to make sure that you now come out of this thinking, man, I am the fucking shit, like I'm the best, I am going to be successful. Because if you're around me, that's just what's going to happen. And
I'm ready to break down the door, Stephen.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm ready to give you the headphones to get you up on the decks with me. Chris is going to be leading a group workout when we're just throwing down the bangers. So
I'm ready
let's
to
go.
run through big rolls, baby.
Yeah.
Perfect. But that sounds great. But Stephen, where could somebody find you if they want to get connected and be hyped by you? What's the best way to track you down?
The best way is Instagram at metamorphosis.music. I'm sure we'll drop that, in the chat or whatever, or wherever we put this. And you can also go to my website, metamorphosmusic.com. And that's where I post all my latest mixes, my videos from my shows. And then on my Instagram, you'll see there's 3 things on there. It's I have fitness, music, and mindset, because those are the 3 things that I'm all about. So those all are intertwined, all related to each other. You have to have the right mindset to be successful in the gym. You have to have the right mindset to be successful on the decks. You have to have the right music to keep you motivated in the gym, and to keep your brain fueled when I'm writing out here. I have the right music on. And being fit, it involves, in my opinion, it has 5 pillars of fitness that are key: your physical health, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, and your financial health. And I think you guys would all agree that all 5 of those are all related to each other. If you don't have your financial health right, you are no way going to be emotionally or mentally stable. If you don't have your physical health right, your mental health and your emotional health is not going to be correct. And if you're not spiritually, whatever you believe in, if you don't have that, you really don't have anything, because you have to have this belief that what you're doing is the right thing, and putting the right things out in the universe are going to be reciprocated to you. So yeah, man, those are the best ways to find me on Instagram and my website. And I am always open to chatting with anyone about whatever they've gone through, or if they need help with, workout plans. I've been in your shoes, as you guys will see on there. I've been a college athlete. I've been so out of shape, I didn't even know who I was. And I had a face that was about triple the size of this. And then now, somehow at 33, I am like, if Roman Reigns or Jason Momoa, if their backup gets hurt and they need someone to fill in as a 3rd stringer, give me a call. I might be able to fill in for you guys. So, but
Not lying.
Anyway about it, just be yourself and be authentic. And those are the big takeaways that I could give everyone. And there's always a better version of you that's inside of you. It's just about whether you're going to be willing to do the work to unlock that. And I believe everyone has that in them. So let's go.
Let's go.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks again, man. We'll talk
Yeah.
to you later.
Enjoyed this so much. Thank you guys. And I look
Thank
forward
you,
to seeing
Stephen.
the episode. Yep. See you guys.